Hello, welcome to this afternoon's LinkedIn Live. I'm delighted to be here with Kerry Robinson, and we are talking today about AI. What is happening with AI today, and where is it going for marketing and actually for business as a whole? Now, I talk to Kerry regularly, and every time I do, I'm blown away. There's always some practical advice and also just some things that maybe help you to be thinking about your future. And so, Kerry, I'll let you introduce yourself properly. Just while I know it's always good to see who's here watching live, because we are here to take your questions live. I'm sure that everybody has some AI questions, but let's just have a little bit of a wave of who's here today. And maybe you could tell me, what is your favorite thing about AI? What AI do you use? What's your go-to tool? What are you using AI for? So just tell us in the comments, because that really helps to give us a bit of context as we go into our chat today. Now over to you, Kerry. I've given you an introduction as to how you and I chat AI, but how did you get into AI in the first place?
Oh, thank you, Laura. It's great to be here. And I like to joke that I got into AI at the age of 10 because back then my mum and dad bought me this little computer and my brother liked playing games on it, but I didn't like doing anything that my brother did. So I learned to program it. And one day mum and dad bought me this box that you put in the back of the computer and it made speech sounds. And I was like, wow, my computer can talk. That really hooked me on the idea of talking to computers and intelligence and consciousness and free will and what all that meant. And then I went off and did a degree in physics, a master's in AI, and then landed in contact center automation. So it's been 20 years of really struggling to get computers to talk nicely with humans and be helpful. Of course, in the last couple of years, all that's changed because a lot of that struggle has gone away. Finally, we have what I would say is really intelligent machines. And now it's really kind of how can we point that intelligence in the right direction and make it really useful and safe.
Well, thank you for joining today, because I know that we're going to get some questions through and you're probably going to be put on the spot. So
Okay.
appreciate that. But let's start with the here and now. I know that one thing that when we first started talking, you really helped to get us onto the right track, because there are so many AI tools out there. In fact, it seems like there's a new brilliant thing that is brought out every day. I'm always on AppSumo, tempted by the latest shiny toy that's coming my way. And one of my first questions to you was, how can we have a framework? How do we know what to test? Because there are so many things out there. And if you don't mind just sort of letting me, repeating basically your advice to me, because that really saves us a whole load of time.
Yeah, look, if you've seen the perfect AI tool, it does exactly what you want, just go use it. But if what you're looking to do is really leverage AI for yourself, for your team, for your business, then I'm not a big fan of all those. I mean, there's dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of companies building tools on top of AI that are supposed to make it easier and better to use. But the reality is that the raw AI models from the likes of OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, they're super powerful and they're super easy to use. And so my advice is stay as close to the models as you can. So pick between OpenAI and Anthropic and Microsoft or Google. All their capabilities are pretty similar. One day one's ahead, one day the other's ahead. Pick the flavor that you feel most drawn to, and focus on using those AI models directly, working with the ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, rather than rely on someone putting a wrapper around it. Because I think that's always going to put you a little bit behind the curve, because it's always going to take them a little while to onboard the latest model and figure out how to get the most out of it. But if you want to have an edge, I think you, your teams, your business should be working as closely as possible with the AI models.
And they keep changing, don't they? Because I was, when I first signed up to Perplexity earlier on in the year, I upgraded to Pro, and it was so that I could get it reading PDFs. And then I realized that the things that I wanted from ChatGPT that I went to Perplexity for, actually ChatGPT can do some of those things really well now as well. So it's always
Yeah. And actually, Perplexity was one tool that I did begin using because it's kind of an AI-powered search, which is quite cool. But that's now available within ChatGPT, so I've just ditched Perplexity. So I think over and over again, it's proven to me that stay close to the models, really learn how to get the most out of them, and like almost like build a relationship with the model, and know how to get the most out of it, and maybe even stick to one because although the power of each of the different models is similar, the way to extract that power from them is a little bit different. So pick a model and stick with it.
Yeah. So we've talked quite a lot about custom GPTs, and I listen to quite a few podcasts on AI, and I'm hearing quite a lot of people talking about Claude's projects and so on. And that's kind of a similar thing, isn't it? It's Anthropic's version of your custom GPTs.
Yeah. So I mean, let's break this down in terms of how, like, if you believe me and you're going to work closely with the models, what does that really mean? Well, to start with, it means, I mainly use ChatGPT, so we'll focus on that. But as we've said, the other models have similar capabilities. It means using it like all day. So have it on your phone, have it on your desktop, and if you're not using it at least 10 times a day, you're not using it enough. I think the key thing is, there's lots of different ways that you can use it. So a lot of people, especially in the marketing community, have used it to create content. But I think that's probably one of the worst use cases for ChatGPT and similar models, because it sounds a bit like AI all the time. There are ways to fix that, and we can talk about it in a minute. But there's so many cool ways to use AI, and I think one of the things people don't do enough of is use it with things that so I'm into AI, and I talk to AI about AI all the time. I'm quite into physics, and I talk to it about that. I'm into speaker building, I talk to it about that. And the great thing is, if you're interacting with the models about something you know about, then you can spot when it makes a mistake, because often it does make mistakes. It hallucinates, says something very convincingly that's actually not true, or it makes a logical error. They do that a lot too. Now, if you're using it in an area that you know pretty well, then you'll spot those. And just like having an intern working for you and supporting you, it's okay if they don't get everything right. It's still useful. They give you extra bandwidth. They can, go do research for you. They can maybe be a muse and help spark ideas. That's the way I like to think about it. Is you can delegate tasks to AI, but don't defer to it and expect it to get it perfectly right. It won't, and it probably never will. Just like, when you're running a business, you delegate tasks to other people. When you're running a marketing department, you'll delegate tasks to other people and even other businesses. But you alone are accountable for the quality and the output of your business or your marketing department.
Just when you talked about quantum physics, I remember us having a call and you showing me a conversation that you'd had just after ChatGPT had gone through an upgrade. And I had a little bit of a light bulb moment there, which is when you know quite a lot about something, by asking the right questions, it can then just increase your knowledge. And I had this visual in my head about your quantum physics knowledge just suddenly sort of going to the next level because of the conversation you've been having with ChatGPT.
Another great example of how to use it. So if there's a term you don't understand, ask about it, and then you can interact with it. If there's something that you want to learn, get it to teach you it. Quite often, I like building stuff, and I'm a really bad programmer, but with AI, you can build stuff so much more easily. And quite often, I'll take a tutorial for how to build something, in a computer system, or how to build a speaker. I'll put it into ChatGPT and I'll say, talk me through this. And at each stage, it'll talk you through it. And if you've got questions or something doesn't work, you'll oh, this doesn't work, or I got this error, and it'll correct it. And at the end, you say, now give me a full tutorial for this that doesn't leave anything out, that's nice and simple and easy to follow. And now create that as a PDF. And now you can give that to a coworker and say, look, this is how to do that thing. So yeah, like it's so many things. It's an intellectual sparring partner. It's a creative muse. It's a critique. You can ask it to critique writing you've done. It's great. It's really good at playing roles. So quite often I'll use it. Like I didn't do it here because I know you say, well, Laura, but when I'm appearing on podcast or I've got important meetings, I'll give it a briefing. I'll say, I've got a podcast coming up with X person. Here's a transcript of their last podcast. Here's their LinkedIn profile. Here are the things they said they want to talk about with me. Now, let's role play. And I'll even sometimes with OpenAI, they've got a really good real-time voice system there. I'll just put it on my AirPod. I'll have a cup of coffee, walking around the house, just practicing a podcast interview with ChatGPT, playing the role of the podcaster.
Oh, I've got one coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to use that tip. That's great.
Yeah,
so all these pros, and I don't really want to talk about the negative because I'm so excited about AI as a topic, but we do need to think about, we're about to talk about, this is here, what could happen in the future. And with that, not only the possibilities, but what could the dangers be? What might you be giving away now that you might regret in the future? And how can you really protect yourself? I mean, a really simple thing that you told me in the early days is make sure that you have an upgraded version of ChatGPT, because then you can make sure that what goes in it is not used to train the model. Whereas when you're on the free version, it's going out and the rest of things. And I guess that's a bit of a risk management from your side.
Yeah. So that's the simple hygiene factor is you typically have to pay for a service, and then you'll get an option to opt out of using your chats for training data. Like if you're using it just for personal, that's fine. But if you're using it for business, you really do need to make sure that you've opted out of using the information for training data. Back in the bad old days, there's definitely examples where chats that people had with AI ended up in the training data, and then some quite personal or business secrets appeared in these chatbots, which is of course not ideal. So yeah, make sure that you've got it locked down. The ChatGPT Team subscription, similar with Anthropic and Gemini, give you those options to lock it down so it's not using your information for training data, and that put you in a safer position when interacting with the models. You still need to think about the level of sensitivity of information. So don't take customers' data that's marked as confidential and throw it into the chatbot, because maybe they're not happy with that information being processed in that region, for example, especially for those in Europe who are subject to data residency laws and GDPR and things like that. But that doesn't stop you anonymizing it and then putting the information into the models. And so we do that with a lot of customers. We take highly sensitive recordings of customer interactions with the contact center. We transcribe, but then we redact it, take out the personal bits, and then they're happy for us to put it into the models.
Okay. Interesting. We've got a question here from Ursula, and Ursula's an AI fan. She says, Kerry, what are the most useful resources to keep up with your learning? I might just give you a plug here. You have a newsletter, right?
I do. We have a Teaching Robots to Talk newsletter. So I'll drop a comment into the LinkedIn Live later with a link to that. Every week I share insights about AI with a bit of a customer experience and customer service focus, but it's so much more than that now. Yeah, how do you keep up with it? Do you know, I hear this all the time. It's the hardest thing. Like, it's my day job. I spend all day, every day working with AI, and I have no hope of keeping up with all the research and everything that's being said about it. I think there's three different ways I'd say that to really help here. One is find a couple of podcasts and a couple of newsletters that you really like, and sign up for those. If you're on Twitter, find a few commentators there that you particularly like and sign up for those. So you're curating your feed so that you'll get information that's useful and relevant. And there's lots of overlap there. I think a newsletter I think is particularly good is Andrew Ng from deeplearning.ai, The Batch. So he's been in AI like right from the very beginning. And there's lots of free resources on his website, deeplearning.ai, free courses that me and my team, and I've recommended to many others to get up to speed with AI. And his weekly email, The Batch, is really, really good. I would highly recommend that. But even then, so you've got good feed, but that's still a lot of information. I think the other thing that really helps is to have a view. What are you trying to achieve with AI? What are you building? Because that way you haven't got to keep up with all of AI. You've just got to keep up with the AI that matters to your particular vision of how you want to use it for yourself, your team, or your business. So for me, that's like, how do we create amazing customer experiences and customer service? But more broadly, and I know we'll probably touch on this, how do we create AI first businesses that really truly leverage the power of AI? And the third thing, of course, is ask AI about AI.
Yeah.
It's read the whole of the internet, and it's a few months out of date, but all the models now will look up things on the internet. So if you've got questions, if you're wondering, if you just want to know what the latest is, click the web search button on ChatGPT and ask it what's the latest. I quite like Grok on Twitter because that's got access to all the contemporary information from Twitter. Or Perplexity is another example. Go there and just what's the latest in AI, and it'll tell you. Or even better, what's the latest in AI in relation to blah 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 blah, whatever it is that your vision is for AI and how you want to use it.
It's more personalized. My go-to podcast is the AI Explored one, which is Social Media Examiner Michael Schnetzer or Schultz.
Yes. Good one. In fact, you shared that with me, and there was a great one which talked about the AI canvas, AI strategy canvas.
Yes, to have a framework. Yeah,
highly recommended. We should put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, we will. We will. So if we're, thank you for that question, Ursula. We've got some more, but we'll come to you in just a moment. If we are looking at the future now, and the future that really concerns me is how do I buy things now, right? That's changed to how I bought things a year ago, which had changed from how I bought things the year before that. I remember doing my Christmas shopping on Gemini last year, and it was, it made it all a lot easier, and I would use something different this year. And if we're thinking about, if we're buying differently as consumers, then we also need to be thinking about how we're doing our sales in order to be relevant to those buyers in the future. So, a lot of our audiences are sort of in the sales and marketing field. So that's something that's really front of mind. I think one of the things that we talked about, Kerry, is how you're using AI to get quicker, more efficient, more personalized, do more. But if you're doing what you've always done in the same direction and the buyers are buying in a completely different way, you might be sort of barking up the wrong tree. And so thinking about it from a buying and selling perspective, it seems to me that there's content is, we've been saying content is king. I worked at the content marketing agency for 10, 15 years. But it seems to me that thought leadership, good quality original research will be something that will become more important. I think actually sources of things, knowing where it's come from, will be, like personal brand and original research will be really important. Do you have a view on that?
Yeah, an evolving view. I think the first thing to realize is AI is a general purpose technology. like electricity, internal combustion engine, internet, mobile. All these things have changed the world and the way we interact with each other and services and businesses and in huge ways. And so we should expect the unexpected. But I think we can already see some signs. So yeah, like immediately everyone's like, oh wow, we can create loads more marketing material really easily, and we can make it really, really personalized, and that risks creating a very, very noisy environment. But it works the other way too. I said earlier in answer to one of the questions, how do you keep up? Ask AI. Don't try and read it all. Ask AI about what you're interested in, and it will bring to you the most relevant articles and ideas and concepts in AI. And that's really important, because your customers will be doing that too. So just like if we think of Google and search engine optimization, how much that changed e-commerce and how that changed business and actually in a way birthed the content marketing industry. I think we can expect the same kind of seismic shifts with AI. And I think it goes in two directions. So I think consumers, look at what Apple's doing with Apple Intelligence. Look at they're going to be bringing more intelligence to Siri. Rumors that Amazon's Alexa is going to be getting access to generative AI too. So the assistants that your customers have in their pockets and on their desks and then their kitchens are going to be giving them ready access to AI models. And so rather than going to Google and searching, they're going to be starting to ask Siri or Alexa for this business product they're looking for, this business challenge they have, or this holiday they want to go on, or this present they want to buy for their niece or nephew. And that's going to change the way that you do business. And I think there's really kind of two different ways this works. I think the way you talked about, Laura, I think you were alluding to, is having a strong brand, being trusted, having opinions that people care about and want to hear, having a product that people trust. Those things help to cut through the noise, but they also help cut through the disintermediation. So like if people are using AI to search for goods and services and ideas, they're kind of disintermediating you. They're not coming straight to your website or to your LinkedIn. They're asking the AI. But if your personal brand, your business brand, your product, your proposition is so strong that they've heard about it, that will cause them to go directly to your brand. And if the experience is so compelling, so interesting, that as a human they want that experience, that I think they'll continue to go to your brand. But if what you're offering is just a commodity, it's not differentiated, you're going to struggle. Or you can stop trying to sell to consumers and start trying to sell to the AI. Because the AI is out there sourcing products and services and ideas for their personal AI owners. And so I think in future, you'll have a lot more AI to AI communication. So your chatbot on your website will often be talking to other chatbots, providing pricing information, how you differentiate to others, trying to convince the chatbot that you're the right provider for that thing that your consumers just asked for. But they didn't go straight to your website. They went to their AI, which goes to your AI, which negotiates a great price. And hopefully you succeed in your sale process there.
And so what you've touched on there is with the custom GPTs, at the moment, we would have something that one that is an expert in one area, and then we would add the expertise from another custom GPT and getting the agents talking to each other, which is probably the first stage in this AI agent talking to AI agent. I mean, we're completely controlling it at the moment, but what you're talking about is a future where it's happening more automatically without the human intervention.
Yeah, and we should probably, I think there's a question from Donovan actually about agentic AI, and so maybe we should just probably touch on that. We talked a lot about individuals, your teams, your business using AI, and being close to the models and using those AI tools. And what you'll find is through that process that the better context you give it, give it a role, give it a task, the better knowledge you give it. So providing it documents and access to knowledge bases and things, and also providing access to information that might be inside tools that you have in your business, like your project management tool or your CRM. That will help you get the most out of the AI when you're using it directly as a human. But then what you'll realize is, well, hang on a second, I don't need to do this all myself. Couldn't the AI just do this for me? And that's when you start moving into the agentic AI world. And there's loads of different agentic AI platforms, and it's a big buzzy part of the space. But all this is really doing is taking the best practice of how we as humans use AI models and packaging it up into a little, in OpenAI parlance, is a custom GPT. On Gemini, they're gems. In Anthropic's Claude, it's projects. But essentially, this is where you say, look, here's your role. Here's some information that you need access to. Here's a bunch of documents you can leverage if you need to. And here's some tools that allow you to access the CRM system or the billing system or the project management system. And then when you invoke that agent, it will do what you've told it, do what you've told it to do. And in the case of the kind of custom GPTs, gems, and projects, it's still your user, you interacting with it. But you can start to then expose those onto your website, so your customers can interact with it. And yes, eventually, I think you'll expose those so that other AI agents will interact with your AI agents and negotiate prices, terms, missed orders, all sorts of different things.
I think that we feel like we talked about search a little bit, and we've got a question about search here. And I don't know whether you have a viewpoint on this at all, but it's a great question. So I do think it may be a case of I mean, none of us know exactly where it's going, but I do know that there's a lot of people that have a view that search is dead. That was the thing, a year ago, that the Google search will be completely replaced by AI. Do you have a view on Google search and its dominance and in answer to this question?
My own personal experience is that I use Google search a tenth as much as I did before. So in terms of discovering ideas, discovering websites, discovering products, for me, that's all happening through AI models now. But that doesn't mean the websites go away. Like once I get there, then I'll interact with the website. But then quite often I'll just copy and paste the information into an AI and get it to talk me through the tutorial or whatever that is. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like Google was a really neat solution for searching the world's information when we didn't have generative AI, because it was really good at getting what you wanted into the top 10 results. And we're very good at seeing a bunch of results and picking the one we want. That's why it worked. And that's why they made a lot of money out of it, because they could put advertising alongside of it too. But once you've got really good generative AI, and especially once you've got personal AI, that you're happy to where it's secure and it's locked down, as Apple are working towards, Microsoft too. You're happy to share lots of your personal information, your preferences. Let it see what videos you've looked at. Ultimately, let it see how your pulse reacts to different conversations and different media. Then it can act better than Google can. It knows you better than anyone does, maybe even yourself. And so, of course, it's going to be much, much better at searching out the products, the services, the ideas, the content that's going to resonate most with you.
We've got a really big question here from Jordan about the biggest way AI will change society. It's a huge question. We were going to talk about how AI is going to change business, and we certainly need to touch on that. How can society get ready for AI?
Well, let's start with business, and that'll be a bridge to this.
Great.
So we've talked about using AI as individuals and within teams. Essential. Do it. If you don't turn up with AI to your work as a knowledge worker, it's like turning up without email or knowing how to use a spreadsheet or a Word document. Like, turn up with AI, learn how to use it safely, responsibly. Then as you learn how AI performs well and where it performs well, start building AI agents that can act for you without you having to kind of watch over them all the time. And then you'll start to see that you can get agents working with agents. But so we've made knowledge workers more effective. Then with agents, we might have automated some parts of the processes within the business. But those businesses weren't built AI first. They were built for humans and non-intelligent technology. And they haven't been that well designed for AI. And so the future I see is businesses built AI first. So built so that the end-to-end value creation of that business can be delivered using AI agents. We're not talking about cutting humans out, but the humans are watching, supervising, ensuring the AI is doing the right thing and doing it the best possible way. But what that means is that end-to-end value creation process is now delivered by AI. And whereas humans are expensive and demanding and slow, and they sleep and they need to eat, AI is not like that. And it's getting better and faster and cheaper all the time. So if you can create an end-to-end agentic AI business, you've created a business that can scale infinitely. It can go as fast as AI allows it to go. It can do as much as you can throw a compute at it, and its cost and its performance are just going to get better and better over time. So I think that is the future of business. And what that means ultimately is that the cost of delivering services, certainly, but in future also products, because we've got huge advances in robotics too, the cost of products and services heads towards zero marginal cost of producing goods and services. And that's incredibly, I think, inspiring possibility. We've lived, like humans have lived, we've evolved in a world of scarcity. And that's led to war, and that's led to disagreements, that's led to inequality. But we've got the potential in the future to have a world where goods and services go to zero marginal cost. And at that point, we have to, I think, reinvent or revisit what it means to be human. What is it that's uniquely important to us as humans? Yeah, it is a big question. I think that there's a bridge to it, and that is using AI, building AI agents, and then ultimately building AI first businesses. But all the way along, I think it's important for us to keep in mind, what does this mean? Like, what does it mean when humans aren't the smartest in the room? What does it mean when no one has to work? What does that future look like? And I think it can be quite incredible and amazing, but there's also plenty of risks along the way there too.
That feels like a perfect point to end. I don't know about you, Kerry, but I think that we've probably, well, my mind is blown, as it always is when we have a chat. So thank you. And thank you for everybody for the questions. And if you've got any more questions, please put them into the comments. Kerry and I will go back on to this particular event. We'll make sure that we're replying to any comments, and do have a look at the things that we'll be putting in the comments. There are a couple of things that we said that we would add in afterwards. And there's already that brilliant article that you can interrogate with the chatbot. We've got more things coming through all the time, but thank you, everybody. It's been a really great LinkedIn Live. I don't know about you, I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, Kerry. Thank you so much. I'm going to play the outro.
Thank you. It's been good fun.